Hello and welcome to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Tonight on the SEC ESPN Network, it's college baseball. The Ole Miss Rebels take on the LSU Tigers. Here are up-to-the-moment Southeastern Conference standings. Vanderbilt has a 2-game lead over Georgia in the East. Arkansas is atop the West, hotly followed by Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and LSU. Come on inside beautiful Alex Box Stadium, Skip Bertman Field, with two-time College World Series champion pitcher Ronnie Rance. I'm Lynn Rollins. Last weekend, LSU took 2 out of 3 against Alabama, and there was an infusion in the offense with the return of freshman second baseman Gavin Dugas.
Yeah, Dugas from Houma, Louisiana, left earlier this season with an injury, came back, got 3 hits a weekend ago. Paul Mainieri hoping that his right-handed bat will balance out the lineup a little bit. He's getting the start this weekend at second.
So after 2 months of not being able to play, he's back in the lineup. We'll see how that works out. This is a homecoming of sorts for Mike Bianco, a former outstanding catcher at LSU, and he recently passed a major SEC coaching milestone.
Well, win number 740 made him third all-time in SEC wins in the conference. That's an outstanding accomplishment for the former LSU baseball assistant.
You know, for a long time, the Kessinger family has provided a lot of outstanding baseball players to Ole Miss. Gray Kessinger is the latest.
Yeah, his grandfather Don was a great player and coach at Ole Miss, and you see the season Gray is having. Those are amazing numbers, the toughest conference in America, and he's hitting .460 in SEC play.
There are 3 weeks of SEC play remaining. Let's look at numbers as we compare Ole Miss and LSU.
Well, the Rebels lead LSU by about 16 points in the batting average category, and they actually lead the Tigers in all statistical categories going into the weekend.
Let's take a look at the Rebels starting lineup. There are 4 300 hitters in this lineup. Ryan Olenek at the top. He's the center fielder. Gray Kessinger, the shortstop. Tyler Keenan at third base. The left fielder, Thomas Dillard. Cole Zabowski is the DH. Kevin Graham at first base. Cooper Johnson is catching. Anthony Servideo is at right field. And Jacob Adams is the second baseman. That's the way it lines up for the Rebels against Mikhail Hilliard, the spin baller, making his second consecutive start on the weekend.
Yeah, well, Hilliard 0-2 on the season with a 4.6 earned run average, Lynn. But when you look at his numbers, they're very good. 29 and a third innings pitched. He's only allowed 22 hits. Opponents are batting only .204 against him, and he's got 37 strikeouts in 29 and a third innings pitched. So his numbers are better than the record or the ERA. So he's just hoping to go 5 tonight and then turn it over to a stacked LSU bullpen.
We will not see Zach Hess, presumably in the starting rotation this weekend. Tomorrow there'll be
Walker will
Texas Ranger Eric Walker, and then
Landon Marceau on Sunday.
So a sophomore and a freshman lined up on Saturday and Sunday.
And there's Zach Hess. He'll be coming out of the LSU bullpen. Coach Mainieri not sure when and how he's going to use him. He's got, obviously, Peterson back there, Todd Peterson. He's got Devin Fontenot. So he's got some really good arms. Be interesting to see who goes first, who closes, and when they pitch. But we do know this. No Cole Henry and no Zach Hess to start this weekend. So it's going to be interesting to see what LSU does.
Game 1, pitch 1, coming your way right now on the SEC ESPN Network. We are delighted to have you with us. A very important series for both of these teams. There are 3 weekends remaining in SEC play. And Ronnie, everything is still up for grabs in both divisions, although Vanderbilt has put a little bit of distance between itself and the rest of the lineup in the Eastern Division. An early chance for Duplantis, and Antoine makes the play. Ryan Olenek is retired. LSU defensively, Zach Watson in center field, flanked by Daniel Cabrera and Antoine Duplantis. Chris Reed and Cade Beloso are on the corners. Josh Smith and Gavin Dugas are the middle infielders. Mikhail Hilliard is pitching to Saul Garza. Up steps Gray Kessinger. He's having an All-America type season.
I mean, when you lead the SEC in 3 statistical categories, and the big ones at that, including batting average, it's all you need to know. He's a junior. He'll be a high draft pick, 6'2", 200 pounds. He's got the DNA, that's for sure. Oh, my.
Josh Smith cannot get up and make the play. But that was one whale of a grab on the backhanded side.
And I wish he would have been able to make the throw, because it would have been fun to see how close this play would have been at first. That was an incredible athletic play by Josh Smith just to keep it on the infield. And he got up. It looked like he was going to have a chance. Watch this. One hopper. Looks like it's a base hit to left. Josh Smith says no. And when he makes the transition, the ball comes out. It would have probably been, Kessinger would have probably been safe anyway at first, but it would have been fun to see.
So a one-hop infield hit by Kessinger. He takes a moderate lead from first base. LSU has not had much success this year in throwing out base stealers. A ground ball to right off the bat of Tyler Keenan, and that finds the grass between Dugas and Beloso. Back-to-back singles have given Ole Miss a chance here in the first.
Now, this is an Ole Miss offense that, as we pointed out, is hitting a little more than LSU. That was an 88-mile-an-hour fastball that just didn't get located. It was down the middle, and it was a good piece of hitting. But this is an Ole Miss team that expected to be one of the best hitting teams in the country. Now, they're having a good year, but not as good offensively as they thought. But as the calendar turns to May and the temperatures heat up, that's usually when offenses get going.
Ole Miss has won 30 of its 46 games this year. It's 13-8 in the SEC, as is LSU. Kessinger, with that base hit, extended his hitting streak to 9 consecutive games. He's at second base now. And Ronnie, he's been on base in 35 straight games this year.
Man. And that 460 SEC batting average will go up. And right now, Hilliard finds himself in a pickle in the first.
And he's got a tough batter to handle here. Dillard has reached safely in 18 straight games. And he leads the team with a 468 on-base percentage. So a tough man to handle with runners at second and first.
You see Hilliard's giving a lot of looks to Kessinger at second base, and why not? Kessinger 14 out of 15 in stolen bases. And the Rebels don't run a bunch, but when they do, they're very successful. They've got 3 guys that have 12 stolen bases or more in their lineup, and each of them have only been thrown out once this year.
Reed will make the force at third. So Chris Reed had an option. I think he took the right play. When he saw the base runner stop, he realized he had no chance for a double play here. And so he'll just take the lead runner as he gets over to third ahead of Kessinger for the force out.
Yeah, that was a smart play by Reed. Dugas was late getting to the bag at second base. And Reed, the veteran, realized, I better not make that throw. That might be bang-bang, and he could be safe. And he just held on to it, touched the bag, and got the most important out, that runner at third.
So 2 gone, and here's Cole Zabowski, the DH. Cole is hitting .316. Olenek, Kessinger, Dillard, and Zabowski each above 300. A breaking pitch for a strike.
Watch right here. 79-mile-per-hour knee buckler. I mean, that's the first breaking ball we've seen. And that's a situation where the hitter's looking for the fastball and got the curveball and just couldn't pull the trigger.
Hilliard is trying to cast ice on a rally in the top of the first. Game 1 of this 3-game series between the Rebels and the Tigers.
Now that breaking ball is so critical for Mikhail Hilliard. I mean, last year when he had success as a freshman, it was largely with that breaking ball. He doesn't throw. He's 85 to 88 miles an hour, so he's not going to blow it by anybody. He needs to be able to throw the breaking ball at any point in time in the count like he did a season ago. That was a big-time bender. Watch this one. I mean, watch where it ends up. Starts off at the ball cap and then ends up around the ankles.
You could thread a worm on that hook.
Those are two of the better breaking balls we've seen from Hilliard in a while. I'd go right back to it.
The 1-2 pitch. With 2 on and 2 out. He did go back to the breaking ball and miss low and tight. That's Dillard at first base. He reached on a fielder's choice. Keenan is ahead of him at second. Kevin Graham is on deck. The outfield is deep and straight away. There's a lazy wind blowing out toward center field and a little bit toward left center at times. Hilliard to Zabowski. He got a little piece of it. That one scratched the top of the baseball.
Watch right here, another very good breaking ball. This is way on that outside corner. Just got a little piece of it, just a nick.
Olenek flied to right. Kessinger reached on a hot hit ball on the infield. Keenan singled to right. Dillard forced Kessinger at third on a fielder's choice. A check swing, and he's punched out by the third base umpire. Hilliard threw some high heat. Zabowski could not contain the swing.
Well, Zabowski was sitting on the breaking ball in. He got surprised by the fastball up in the zone, and that's why you saw the check swing go around.
So a couple of base hits in the inning, but Ole Miss fails to score. The Tigers are coming to the plate in Game 1 of the series. The Rebels collected a couple of hits in the first inning but failed to score. LSU coming to the plate with this lineup. There are, like Ole Miss, 4 300 hitters in the LSU lineup today. Zach Watson in center field, Antoine Duplantis the right fielder, Cade Beloso at first base. Josh Smith is the shortstop, Chris Reed at third base, Gavin Dugas is the second baseman. The bottom third of the order, left fielder Daniel Cabrera, Giovanni DiGiacomo is the DH, and Saul Garza is catching and batting ninth against Will Etheridge. And this young man, a big fellow, 6'5", 240 pounds, with some nice numbers and a very nifty earned run average of 2.67. 5-3. This is his 11th start. 54 innings, 20 walks. That's been a little bit of a problem, but he has struck out nearly a batter per inning.
Yeah, he's averaging 2.5 strikeouts to every 1 walk. A guy who was primarily reliever at the beginning of his career, and here his junior season, all of his appearances this year have been via the start, and he's going to be low 90s, kind of that 3/4 slot, and has had a very good season. Opponents are only hit .224 against Will Etheridge.
He has allowed 10 fewer hits than innings pitched. 44 hits allowed in 54 innings. Here's Zach Watson at the top of the order with a .348 batting average.
He just flipped a little slider in there, 82 miles an hour. First pitch. And Watson got a little piece of it, but it was caught for a strike.
This is the 40th start for Zach Watson. He's been on the shelf for a few games with a hamstring problem. Watson with 5 homers. His average of .348 is a team best among the regulars. Duplantis and Beloso will follow. The outfield is deep and straight away. Watson sends a parking lot souvenir on the right side.
Well, all 3 of Etheridge's first 3 pitches have been for strikes, and he's pretty effortless, for a big guy. He's nice and easy with his mechanic, kind of a 3/4 short arms it, nice and simple, 93 miles an hour on the first fastball we saw from him. And it all comes out of the same slot. That one was 94. They intentionally tried to miss off the plate. The one thing to watch for with Will Etheridge, Lynn, is he's had a little bit of a blister problem this year. He missed a start, the second start of the year, and against Kentucky in a game where he was outstanding back on April the 12th, went 7 innings. The blister actually broke during the game, and he stayed in there.
The right fielder is coming on, but the second baseman backs up and makes the play. Jacob Adams was able to backpedal quickly.
And the LSU historians know well about blister issues. Ben McDonald, who often sits in this seat, had his share of those back in 1989, his last year with the Tigers. But this is something they've worked on all year long. Will Etheridge, the trainers will, in between starts, will have to manage that blister problem.
Tough skin and pickle juice.
That'll
take care of it?
That's the Cenla way, Central Louisiana way?
No, that's the 1960s way. And maybe a dash of tobacco juice.
Well, in that April 12th game against Kentucky, when Etheridge went 7 innings and struck out 11 halfway through the game when that blister burst, he wanted to stay in there. They put some glue. They put in there to get through the game. Super glue.
Antoine Duplantis coming to the plate with a .294 average. That's chopped down the line at first. And an easy play for Kevin Graham. Dillard, Olenek, and Servideo in the outfield from left to right. Keenan, Kessinger, Adams, and Graham on the infield from third to first. Etheridge and Johnson form the Rebels battery. Here's Cade Beloso. Cade started the season solidly at the plate, and then he went into a slump. But over the last 3 or 4 weeks, his bat has come back alive. He's hitting .285, 6 homers. He's driven in 38. And that's the second highest total on the team.
Well, what's impressive, Lynn, is he's a true freshman, and he's solidly the first baseman for LSU for this year and probably for the foreseeable future. And any freshman that can kind of entrench themselves in a job, that's pretty good stuff. I talked to Paul Manera before the game, and he said, "Oh yeah, he's in there the rest of the year, lefty, righty, it doesn't matter. Cade Beloso's their guy."
Adams has time to make the play, and he does. So a 3-up, 3-down inning for Etheridge. A pop-up, a ground-out, and a ground-out. The last 2 to the right side. We go to the second inning. Ole Miss nothing, LSU nothing on the SEC ESPN Network. Well, let me do some quick math. These teams have played 329 times since the series started in 1906. LSU has won 176 and lost 153 against the Rebels. Ole Miss beat LSU in the SEC championship game a year ago after that magnificent run to the finals by the Tigers.
Well, at first I was impressed with the math, and I looked on the screen, and it was right there for you. The
but
graphic
I didn't know
was...
that when I was doing. You see my addition right here?
Okay. You were patting yourself on the back with the math. I was just surprised. Nonetheless, it was impressive. It's
my guess is that Mississippi State and Ole Miss are the 2 most frequent opponents for LSU in baseball. That's just a guess.
Yeah, I would think so.
Tulane's got to be up there as well.
But they played the longest. LSU and Tulane. It was the first game that LSU played was against Tulane back. Now we're talking about 126 years ago. So that was the first opponent. But as far as being in a conference and playing 3-game series and all that, it's one of those two.
A knock up the middle by Kevin Graham. 3 hits already for Ole Miss.
It's a little hanging breaking ball right here. They're trying to throw it down and in, and Hilliard left it up around the letters. And if you're a hitter, Lynn, and you're facing a pitcher that throws primarily curveball, or that's the best pitch, and you're going up there looking for it, that's what you're looking for. You're hoping the pitcher makes a mistake, elevates that breaking ball, because if they throw a good one that's down at below the knees, I mean, it's hard to hit it even if you're looking for it.
Let's see what catcher Cooper Johnson does. He's a junior receiver. This is his 39th start. Will he be asked to bunt? A short lead at first and no indication of a sacrifice on the first pitch, which is elevated. Cooper Johnson is hitting .266. 5 homers. He's striven in 18.
Got Cooper Johnson, not only a good, offensive catcher, but a good defensive catcher as well. He's on the Buster Posey watch list, which is the award given to the nation's top catcher. It used to be the Johnny Bench Award. Now it's the Buster Posey Award. I guess they got to change it for the kids. They got to keep it fresh. But that was another pitch. You saw where it was, elevated above the waist. And when you don't throw very hard, when you're a mid-80s guy, you got to be a little bit particular with your location. You make the mistake up in the zone, it's very hittable.
So 2 singles in the first and a pair of singles to open the second for Ole Miss. Here's Servideo, the right fielder. He's hitting .298 with 20 driven in, only 1 home run. He tries to bunt it and did not square it up very well.
He kind of got caught in between a little bit, Servideo did. He had the sacrifice bunt, but I think he squared around too late, Lynn, and he didn't get the bat, his body squared, didn't get the bat out in front of the plate, and that's how he got caught in between and fouled it off.
Kessinger, Keenan, Graham, and Johnson have singled. 2 on, nobody out, top of the second. Game 1 of this series.
That time, much better job. He pulled it back wisely. Servideo, playing right field, probably next year will move to the middle infield and possibly play shortstop if Kessinger goes, signs pro. He is an infielder who took it for the team, moved to the outfield, but has been outstanding out there in right field. He's got a lot of speed and has a above-average arm.
Garza handles it in foul ground.
Last year, Servideo, he was on the infield, and he was on the all-freshman team as a second baseman. So it's a guy that's extremely versatile, played second a year ago, right field this year, likely to be the shortstop next year. And, oh, by the way, Lynn, can really run. He's got 19 stolen bases in 20 attempts this season.
Well, they have asked him to bunt a couple of times. He has failed. His batting average with runners in scoring position is outstanding. He's hitting .488 with runners in scoring position. They've asked him to bunt again. Apparently, he lets that one go by. 2 balls, 2 strikes. You
don't see that very often. You kind of used to back in the day, but you don't really see two-strike bunt calls very often these days in college baseball.
Especially from a guy who's hitting .488 with runners in scoring position. Reed and Beloso are even with the bag on the corners. The middle infielders are at double play depth. Now the count is full.
Boy, this ball just misses. Is it in the top of the strike zone? I think it was the right call. A ball, a couple of fans behind the plate had an aneurysm. You saw them jump out of their seats. My goodness, there was some folks that did not agree with that call. Love the passion.
Let's check the runners. They are not moving. It is punted to Reed. He scoops. He delivers to first base. Beloso hangs on. So a 3-2 sacrifice bunt turned into an out by Chris Reed. And Servideo, after a long at bat, moved the runners along.
Now, good baseball play all around right here by Reed, and then give Servideo a lot of credit. I mean, that's a tough thing to be asked to do. Bunt with 2 strikes, and it was perfectly placed.
So here's Jacob Adams now at the bottom of the order with a .213 average. No homers, 10 driven in. Reed and Beloso come tight on the corners. Smith and Dugas, the middle infielders, remain back. Adams has had some success this year, scoring runners from third base with less than 2 outs. He's done it 6 of 9 times. Beloso's coming to the plate and makes a wide throw. The runner is out at first base, but Beloso's throw to the plate was up the third base line, and Graham scores the first run.
Well, that was almost a great play by Beloso. It didn't even have to be kind of extraordinary. Just a decent throw would have gotten him. But I think Beloso felt the pressure, tried to rush it just a hair, and threw it up the line.
Here's Olenek, who flied to right last time. He's a .364 hitter. He's missed 5 games this year, but he started the other 41. Olenek is mostly a singles hitter. He's had 1 homer, but he's driven in 27.
Yeah, Olenek, who started every single game he's played, but he's missed those 5, and it was with a hip injury. He got hit with a baseball and then slid and made it worse and busted a bursa sac on his hip. Doesn't sound pleasant. And missed 5 games.
What did I tell you earlier? Tough skin, pickle juice,
yeah,
and
salt.
a little bit, just a dash of tobacco juice.
That's it. Any Tabasco in there?
No,
that concoction?
No. LSU playing from behind, trailing 1-0. A breaking ball divides the plate. One run, 4 hits early for Ole Miss. Eric Walker scheduled to start tomorrow for LSU. Josh Smith's going to have to hurry and uncranks a nice throw to first base to retire the side. Olenek grounds out to short, but Graham crosses the plate after singling to open the inning. And we go to the bottom of the second with Ole Miss out in front, 1-0 over LSU. Right now, the wind is blowing out towards center and left center field. You see a little blue right there, but behind the stadium, it's more of an asphalt colored sky. 80 degrees, partly cloudy. Winds out of the south-southeast. But not with great velocity tonight. 1-0 Ole Miss. On back-to-back base hits by Graham and Johnson to open the second inning. A sacrifice bunt and an RBI ground out by Jacob Adams. Josh Smith, Chris Reed, Gavin Dugas. The scheduled hitters for LSU against Will Etheridge. LSU did not get a ball out of the infield in the bottom of the first and went 3 up, 3 down. Ronnie, here's kind of an interesting number just to contemplate. Not that it has any bearing on this game, but Ole Miss is 18-6 when scoring first, and that's impressive. However, LSU, when the opponent scores first, has won 10 of 12 games.
Now that's impressive. This LSU baseball team, if you could figure them out, let me know, because I can't. And a lot of times I thought, they're going to lose this one, they win. They're going to win this one, they lose. It's been mind-scratching for the LSU coaches. They'll admit it. You know, it's kind of like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get from this team. Now, it's been better of late, But every time you take 2 steps forward, they take 2 steps back because now they're having to battle the rotation and the injuries. No Cole Henry available. Don't know when he'll be back. Zach Hess is now in the bullpen. You're asking Hilliard to be a Friday night SEC starter, which wasn't his role coming into the season. So there's a lot of piecemealing that's going on with this team. But the one thing they've got some really good talent, and they've got LSU across their chest, and they just play 27 ounce. All 27 ounce don't look pretty, but they play 27 ounce, and they've won a lot of close games, and they've come from behind a lot this year.
Josh Smith bounced out to his counterpart, and now here's third baseman Chris Reed. Chris Reed's average at .281. This is his 29th start. He's driven in 25. He comes to the plate with the bases empty. Reed has the second highest on-base percentage among the Tigers at .438.
He just has a fantastic eye at the plate, and he rarely, leans over. Kind of fought that one off the hands, and it blooped in there. But when you swing at good pitches, you don't have to be perfect, right? He hit that ball in the hands a little bit, didn't really barrel it up, but it was a good pitch. Watch right here. Gets in on him a little bit and just kind of fights it off in the right center field. But he's just always so balanced at the plate. Rarely chases anything in the dirt or has to really extend too much. And because of that, I think he gets the benefit of the call a lot of times by the umpires. He's kind of got a reputation now of having a good eye in the league.
So Chris Reed becomes LSU's first base runner with the dump single into right center field. And here's Gavin Dugas. Reed manages to scramble back. Cooper Johnson gave him a long look and then decided to hold on to the baseball.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate play for LSU because Reed had the right idea, wanted to get down to second, but the ball just caught a little bit of the umpire's foot. It got past the catcher, caught the umpire's foot, and ended up staying in the batter's box.
Cooper Johnson has been sensational behind the plate this year in gunning down would-be base runners. He has done it at a 50% clip, which is just beyond belief. 40% is considered very good. 50% is extraordinary. He's 15 for 30 in throwing out base runners.
Yeah, kind of compare that to, say, Saul Garza. Now, it's a small sample size, but Garza's thrown out 2 base stealers in 9 attempts this year. So, maybe 25%. Which LSU will take. I mean, that's an improvement from where it was earlier in the year. But and he's played well behind the plate the last couple of weeks. But 50% throwing out base stealers, you know what that'll do? That'll make you not steal, is what that statistic will do.
Reed has 1 stolen base this year. Servideo cannot get to it. It bounces off the warning track and then against the wall. Reed stops at second, and the ball is loose momentarily and rolls into foul ground. But the LSU Tigers stop at second and third, and Gavin Dugas, he's been a vitamin shot to this offense. His second double. This young man missed 2 full months. He went out on February 28th. He just came back last weekend.
You know who he reminds me of? The way he hits the baseball, because he doesn't... Mason Katz. He's got a lot of Mason Katz in him from the right side. The ball just has a little extra giddy up on the end, just that little extra rise. A lot of doubles come off of him. He swings a heavy bat, which Mason did his entire career at LSU.
Dugas is now 7 for 16 on the season. That was his second double.
Shows the importance out of getting a pitcher into the stretch. Guys can be so comfortable in the windup, but just you get a guy on, Reed figures out a way to get on base, and then all of a sudden, a guy out of the stretch, he just didn't look at Etheridge, threw a couple out of the zone, and then throws one in there, and all of a sudden, Dugas hits it off the wall.
Mike Bianco, who's wearing the same number at Ole Miss that he did at LSU, goes out to the mound in his 19th season. Number 3 all time in Southeastern Conference victories.
And it's pretty cool. His son, Drew Bianco, wears the same number at LSU, 5, that his dad wore. And you see Drew before the game, those two met behind home plate when Ole Miss was taking batting practice. Actually was talking to Mike a little bit, and Drew ran up real quick, gave his dad a hug, and said, "Happy birthday, Pop." And he said, "Thank you," and then he ran back to the dugout. That was it. Obviously, they'll spend a little more time this weekend together, but it was a neat moment.
Bianco is 52 years old today. Daniel Cabrera has an opportunity to drive in runs. He's a .300 hitter. He's got 36 RBI on 42 hits. And he's late on that swing. The young man at the plate is LSU's home run leader with 8.
Now that pitch was off the plate, but you could see what Cabrera was trying to do. He was trying to hook that thing and pull it to the right side to get a ground ball and get that runner in from third. That has been a struggle for Cabrera this year, getting the runner in from third base.
Cabrera jumps back, but this pitch leaks back over the inside corner.
That had some great movement on that ball by Etheridge, kind of that Greg Maddux style where you got on the side of the baseball with the fingers. It looked like it was going to run in, caught that inside corner black.
Cabrera needs to make contact, a ball and 2 strikes. 1 out, runners at second and third. Smith bounced out to the shortstop to open the inning. Chris Reed dumped a single into right center field. Dugas banged a double over the right fielder's head.
Cabrera this year with runners at third and less than 2 outs in 17 attempts has gotten the runner in 10 times. That's a 59% average.
Let's see what he does here.
And
2 balls, 2 strikes.
And you wonder, well, how does that compare? Well, you know, Cade Beloso's got a 77% success rate. Drew Bianco's got 60. Brant Broussard has 70. So you see that 59% is a little low.
This will score a run. Graham makes the play behind first base, but Chris Reed scores from third, and we are brand new.
Well, there you go. He did his job. You see right here, got a breaking ball. He's trying to pull everything on that right side to get that runner in from third. And LSU able to manufacture a run right there. Good at bat.
Here's Giovanni DiGiacomo, the freshman DH, batting .294 in this his 28th start. Most of his 32 hits have been singles. Only 4 have not. He's driven in a dozen.
That was 92 miles an hour on that last fastball by Etheridge that was fouled off into the stands by DiGiacomo.
Each team with a run in the second. Johnson set up outside. That's where Etheridge delivered. It was off the plate. Ole Miss 1, LSU 1. Game 1 of this series. The middle game is scheduled to start at 6:30 tomorrow. We understand there's a high likelihood of rain overnight and into the day tomorrow, so we'll see what Mother Nature has in store for us. But 6:30 is the scheduled start time tomorrow. We'll have it for you here on the SEC ESPN network. And then on Sunday, a 2:30 start. The crew from ESPN2 will be here to bring you that game.
Well, DiGiacomo with 2 strikes, Lynn, trying to do the same thing as Cabrera, get that runner in from third. He struck out 36 times this year in 109 at-bats, so this has been a trouble spot for him, and this is, we'll see how far he's come. That batting average has improved. It's been around 300 the last couple of weeks. He's really had a much better approach at the plate, trying to make contact, and it will be put to the test right here against Etheridge, who averages a strikeout per inning.
Three balls and 2 strikes. Saul Garza is in the on-deck circle with 2 outs. Jacob Adams, the second baseman, is very deep. He's a couple of steps back on the grass. He'll cover as much ground as possible on the right side of the infield. Here we go to DiGiacomo. And he strikes out for the 37th time this year. But a run in on a ground out by Daniel Cabrera. Chris Reed crosses the plate. And on this play, the Tigers have evened the score. Ole Miss won. LSU won. The third inning is straight ahead. It's the custom of LSU on the weekends to honor a member of the armed forces. This is Lionel Smith, a veteran of the United States Navy, 25 years of service. He was a search and rescue air crewman in helicopters and an anti-submarine air crewman in patrol bombers. Lionel Smith was part of the Cuban Missile Blockade and is also a Vietnam War veteran. Congratulations to Lionel Smith, who is the grandfather of LSU shortstop Josh Smith. I love those soldier salutes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, my dad was a U.S. Navy man in Vietnam in the late 60s, and I always get a kick out of seeing some of these great veterans, especially the World War II and Korea conflict and Vietnam wars as well. I think LSU first, I mean, I know they've done it sporadically. They've done it for many, many years, but they first started doing it in 1991 during Desert Storm. Coach Bertman implemented the soldier salute that season, and then they did it a little bit over the years, and then I think for about the last dozen years it's been pretty much a tradition.
Gray Kessinger had an infield hit last time. What a lineage the Kessinger family has had at Ole Miss. Don Kessinger, of course, the grandfather of Gray Kessinger, was an extraordinary infielder in the major leagues for many, many years. His father, Kevin Kessinger, played at Ole Miss. Keith Kessinger, an uncle, also played at Ole Miss. Both of them played in the major leagues, and now Gray Kessinger is trying to become the fourth Kessinger to perhaps make it to the major leagues.
Well, the SEC Network did a great special, you know, on the Kessingers, one of those SEC stories features, and it's one of the better ones now. There's one going on right now there, and it's in the works for Skip Bertman. Mark Kinderman, one of the producers for SEC Network and ESPN, he'll be working all of 2019 and into 2020, and look for sometime around the College World Series in 2020 and SEC stories on Skip Bertman.
Josh Smith gets under this towering pop-up and makes the catch.
Kind of fitting, right, that Josh Smith would make the first out of the inning after his grandfather was the soldier salute.
There's Keith Kessinger. That's the uncle of Gray Kessinger, and he works radio for the Ole Miss Rebels network. Don Kessinger was one of my all-time favorite players, just the way he approached the game. He was such a clutch player, great defensively, was more than adequate offensively.
And a six-time All-Star.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Tyler Keenan had a base hit last time. Hilliard worked that one by him. Keenan was a little bit late on the swing. Ole Miss collected a couple of hits in the first and a couple more in the second, as Graham and Johnson each single to open that inning. And then a sacrifice bunt later. Jacob Adams drove in the run with an infield out. Keenan, as a freshman a year ago, hit 9 homers and batted .301. He was a freshman All-America. Garza runs out to the infield to create an angle to first.
Take a look at Hilliard here as he's got the breaking ball working tonight. Starts off with a get it over curve. Throws a little cutter fastball up in the zone and then a good located heater away. And then that's a nice breaking ball. Should have been a finished pitch, but that one was. He threw a good one and then threw a better one to get the strikeout.
A strike to Thomas Dillard. Each team got a run in the second inning. We play in the third. We are delighted that you have chosen to spend some time with us here in Baton Rouge. Game 1 of this series, Ole Miss and LSU. And a very important series it is, not only for seeding in the SEC tournament, but also for postseason considerations.
No question. You know, the million-dollar question is how many wins do you have to get in the SEC in order to host a regional? And I don't know that there's a resolute number. It's probably a case-by-case basis. Both teams, Ole Miss and LSU, haven't been as dominant midweek as they've been in the past. You see, look at that pitch. It starts off the plate, and then he's got a little bit of cut action, a little bit of natural movement to catch that outside corner.
This ball is tagged very well. Cabrera is back. Does he have room? Yes, he does. He makes the catch one step away from the left field wall. Dillard gave it a long ride to his counterpart in left field, but Daniel Cabrera retreated and made the catch. Garza, Watson, and Duplantis coming up for the Tigers in a 1-1 game. Coach Dee Dee Bro knows how to fire up a gymnastics team, and she's also getting that LSU baseball team ready. Look at this.
Yeah, she had the championship gymnastics team standing behind her, and then she went over there prior to running out on the field at the top of the first and got the team fired up. And Dee Dee Bro only knows one speed. That's 110 miles an hour all out, and I'm sure she had a little fun yelling at the guys.
Here's what I wanted to see, though. Instead of a first pitch being actually thrown, I wanted to see the gymnastics team take the ball, do a series of flips, and hand it to the catcher.
I think somebody did that.
They did. They did it tonight.
Oh, they did it tonight?
Yeah.
They did do that?
Yeah,
I
love
cool.
that.
I think one time one of the champion gymnasts years ago did like a couple of flips and then threw it. Like she came off the mound, did a couple of flips, and then still threw the ball.
Saul Garza making his first at bat, leading off the third inning. Got a couple of quick strikes from Will Etheridge. Garza hitting .211. He's homered a couple of times. He's had a home run in each of the last 2 SEC series. After a long drought in the home run category. All right, let's watch Lexi Priestman here.
Wow. Oh, yeah, she did it.
There we go.
Is that a somersault? A
cartwheel.
A cartwheel, I don't know, whatever kind it is. Round off something. And then she threw a little high and inside, but it was still a good throw.
Garza, after falling behind 2 strikes, rips one by Tyler Keenan at third base. That's hit number 3 for the Tigers.
Well, it's spelled like Saul, but it's pronounced Saul, and he's been a little bit hot the last couple of weeks. I mean, he's kind of taken hold of that catcher job for LSU. There's been some distance now between Mathis and Garza, and even though the average is still in the low 2s, the at-bats have been better, and his defense has been much improved.
What he's done at the plate is he's learned how to recognize an SEC-caliber breaking ball much better than he did earlier in the year.
And in talking with Sean Ochenko, he said he's basically done a much better job, too, at just swinging at strikes, swinging at, hittable pitches. sometimes you just have to let balls go. You're not going to hit it anyway, so don't swing. And he's done a much better job, like the Chris Reed approach of swinging at balls you have a chance of hitting.
So Saul Garza at first base with Zach Watson coming to the plate. He popped up to the second baseman Adams last time. Garza with a very short lead. And a slider catches the outside part of the plate. That's an almost unhittable pitch. Watson has 13 doubles. That leads the team. There's Garza's very cozy lead. LSU reached Etheridge with a one-out single by Reed. Dugas followed with a double into right field. Cabrera drove in Reed with a ground ball to first base. One each in the opening game of this series. Watson lunges for that and strikes out.
Take a look right here at this nice slider. Not only is it the change of speed, you see Watson way out in front, but it starts off on the corner as a strike and then clearly ended up off the plate. That is a perfectly placed pitch when you're ahead in the count.
Etheridge got to Giacomo in the second. He gets Watson here in the third on strikes. Here's Duplantis, who pulled a ground ball to the first baseman Graham last time. Congratulations to Antoine's brother Mondo with the best outdoor collegiate pole vault in the country this year. That is a foul ball just by inches. That had a couple of bases at least written on it, but just to the left of the stripe.
Here you see the ball. Is it fair? Is it foul? And yeah, about 6-8 inches left of the foul line.
One run, 4 hits for Ole Miss. 1 run, 3 hits for LSU. Tomorrow will be a special occasion as the LSU College World Series championship team will celebrate its 10-year anniversary. Prior to the game, Duplantis with that sweet swing drops in a base hit into right. A nice liner in front of Servideo, and Antoine pushes Garza to second base.
Look at this great approach right here. Just stays back, recognizes the off speed early, and just was patient, let the ball break into him, and hit a line drive to right field. Antoine Duplantis, even though the average still isn't where you think it's going to end up. I mean, I have a hard time believing he's going to hit sub 300 for the season. That was an excellent approach, and saw Duplantis before the game, made a bunch of kids smile as he was visiting with the Razors 12U team out of Jennings, Louisiana, before the game, signing autographs and taking pictures. And he's just such a well-liked player on this team by the Tiger Nation.
He and Josh Smith now lead the team with 56 hits. Here's Cade Beloso. He's hit .395 this year with runners in scoring position. Beloso rolled out to second base in his first at bat. 2-0. Garza at second base, Duplantis at first.
Now, Beloso, his last time up, Lynn, actually hit the ball pretty hard. It hit off the pitcher's glove and went right to second base. So he had a good look at him the first time, and right here he's clearly going to get a good pitch to hit. With first and second occupied, 2-0, 1-1 ball game early on. This should be a fastball. And I think if you're Beloso, you have to sit on it. Even if he throws a changeup or off speed, if you're Beloso, you're up there sitting dead red and you're trying to take everything else.
Well done by the first baseman, Kevin Graham. That will go into the scorebook as a routine 3-1 putout, but Kevin Graham made a heck of a play on the backhand side on a very difficult short hop.
Yeah, kind of an in-between hop right here. If he gets by him, LSU's going to score a run, but he made a really nice play. And Beloso with a quality at bat, able to advance the runners. Wasn't necessarily just trying to get him over on a 2-0 pitch there, but good baseball play by both teams.
2 outs now for Josh Smith, who rolled out to short last time. Garza at third, Duplantis on second. A liner to center field. Duplantis pinwheeling around third. He'll score easily. And the Tigers take the lead on a Josh Smith laser up the middle on the first pitch he sees.
Now Josh Smith aggressive early. It was a mistake by Etheridge. They were trying to throw that ball down and away, and he leaked it back down and in. And Smith, such a good low ball hitter on the inner portion. I mean, that is his red hot zone. And he just drove that ball right back up the middle. No chance to get Duplantis from second with all that speed.
So a 2-run single by Smith with 2 outs. And the Tigers have their first lead. And the runner is tagged out at first base. Josh Smith never moved, and Paul Maneri's got to come out and get an explanation. I'm not sure what happened. Josh Smith had taken the lead.
I mean, everybody on the LSU team thought it was a balk. Josh Smith didn't even move. The LSU coaches were going upset. And Paul Maneri's saying he clearly moved the front leg before coming to first. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That is a balk.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as someone at home, watch that front leg. He flinches breaks the first leg. Now, as a pitcher, you should try that all the time. I mean, you know, it's nothing wrong with getting a balk called on you. You get away with it more times than not, and that was a big out for Ole Miss.
So a pickoff at first base. The Tigers have a 3-1 lead over Ole Miss on the SEC ESPN Network. LSU opens the 4th inning with a lead for the first time after scoring a pair in the 3rd. Cole Zabowski, Kevin Graham, and Cooper Johnson against Mikhail Hilliard. Hilliard spins in a breaking ball. Hilliard has struck out a couple of Rebels, and Zabowski was the first one.
Well,
we play in the 4th.
Let's see how Hilliard handles this inning, because the most important inning is always the one after your team has a big inning, puts a crooked number on the board, and gives you the lead. So it's imperative that Hilliard work quickly, throw strikes, and keep that momentum in the first base dugout if you're an LSU fan.
LSU would dearly enjoy getting 5 or 6 innings out of Hilliard tonight. Zabowski cannot take the bat off his shoulder, and Hilliard records his 3rd strikeout.
Boy, that breaking ball is he's feeling it a little bit tonight. That's I think that's one of those situations where the hitter gave up on it. It broke. It was up high in the zone, and you think as a hitter, okay, that's not going to come all the way down, and the bottom fell out of it.
That's a sinkhole curveball. Kevin Graham had a base hit in the second and scored on a Jacob Adams groundout. Hilliard working ahead, 2 strikes. Now LSU puts the shift on with 2 strikes. 3 infielders on the right side of the diamond. And that came only after there were 2 strikes. There you see Josh Smith in the middle of your screen behind second base, and then Gavin Dugas and Cade Beloso also on the right side. And Chris Reed pulled over into almost a normal shortstop position from third base.
Now they've got the shift on for the freshman Graham, who there's only one freshman in Ole Miss's lineup. They really like this young player. Even though the average is only 235, he's had some good ABs, 5 home runs on the year. Slugging percentage hovering around 500.
Two and two now with 1 out.
Kevin Graham, 6 foot, 195 pounder, hails from O'Fallon, Missouri. How about the University of Missouri? 3rd place over in the East. I mean, that's a team that
getting some very good pitching.
Has had some, one has obviously beat LSU 2 out of 3 up there, but they have.
Ole Miss coming in as a hot team as well after sweeping Texas A&M last week. Those victories were 5-4 in 11 innings, 13-3, and 3-2.
Ole Miss a year ago. Oh boy, look at that bender. Catches the outside corner, and the young freshman can only look at it. This is one of those tip your hat pitches. They're trying to throw the breaking ball in, and he actually just did catch a little bit of the outside corner. You saw Garza wanted that ball down and in. It leaked away, but he's been around the zone a lot tonight, so you got the benefit of the call by Jeff Wright, the home plate umpire.
4 strikeouts for Hilliard, 2 in this inning.
Last year, Ole Miss, Lynn, only lost 1 midweek game during the season, and that was to Mississippi State in the Governor's Cup. They lost to Southern Miss on Wednesday night, and much like LSU, that's been a little bit of a problem during the year. And the reason that is important is because you start trying to split hairs between national seed, non-national seed, host or not host a regional.
Well, in Baton Rouge, the Rebels have had very scarce success. They've not won a series here since 1982. That's prior to Skip Bertman, isn't it?
It is. Skip Bertman's first season was the spring of 1984.
That's a long time without winning a series in Baton Rouge.
Now, Ole Miss, between that from 82 to about 2001, Skip Bertman's last year, and of course Mike Bianco's first year, Ole Miss had its struggles. I think they only went to 1 or 2 regionals in about 20 seasons or so. But under Mike Bianco, they've had some very good teams, and so it's surprising that statistic has still held up all these years.
Cooper Johnson flies out to Daniel Cabrera in left field. It's a 1-2-3 inning. There's a nice house here at Alex Box Stadium, Skip Bertman Field tonight. A few empty seats, but not many. LSU gave up a run in the second, tied the game in the bottom of the inning, and scored twice in the third on a 2-run single by Josh Smith. Chris Reed, Gavin Dugas, and Daniel Cabrera will bat for LSU in the 4th against Will Etheridge. He has not walked a batter. He has struck out a pair. Ole Miss has pitched pretty well this year for the most part.
Boy, that's like the 3rd or 4th time Etheridge has had just a wild miss, way out of the zone, a non-ball, as it was always called by Skip Bertman, and I'm sure Mike Bianco calls it the same thing. That's a non-competitive pitch where the batter doesn't even have anything to think about. And so, Etheridge he's kind of scuffled a little bit tonight. 3 runs, 5 hits, hasn't had the command and the comfort level out there that he's had for most of the season.
One thing he has not done is walk anybody. And Ole Miss for the season is 12th nationally in strikeouts to walks ratio, just about 3-1.
Well, this is going to be,
and that's as a staff.
This is about as sure a lock as there is in Vegas. A 3-0 count to Chris Reed, right? Who's the king of the walk, and then your Etheridge, who's 3-0. So let's see how this plays out. All right, one more. Can he come all the way back? Watch the movement. This is a real nice pitch. Looks like it's up and in, and it winds up leaking back towards the outside corner.
Reed has not played in 17 games this year, but he still leads the Tigers in bases on balls. And Etheridge comes all the way back from the 3-0 deficit and gets Reed to ground out to the right side.
Yeah, that was a really nice job against a guy who is going to make you throw strikes. Reed thought the 3-1 was a ball. It wasn't, and Etheridge pumped 3 straight strikes in there.
The Ole Miss pitching staff is 3rd in the SEC in earned run average, strikeouts, and opposing batting average during conference play. So this is a team that has been built around some very solid pitching, not only among a couple of starters, but pretty much throughout this entire pitching roster.
I think this is the old, hey, if I give you the 1, it's the 1 now, and the 2 is the 2. That's to make sure they're on the same page. See, the last pitch was a fastball that, thought he was getting the breaking ball, got the fastball. That's why you got to put the nail polish or the paint on the fingers at nighttime so that the pitcher can see the signals a little better.
Now remember, they are using the radio transmission to the catcher, but of course the catcher has to get that call out to the pitcher. I don't see the wires though.
You can see it, yeah.
Are they there?
Yeah, it's there. It's just tucked in the shirt collar, but
Gavin Dugas is 2 for 2. He has been an impact hitter since returning to the lineup after a 2-month hiatus.
I mean, Lynn, I can't be more impressed. It's only his 17th at-bat of the season, and that's a breaking ball right there. So he first at-bat, he takes a fastball off the wall to right center, and then the next time makes an adjustment and hits a breaking ball up the middle. I mean, those are very nice approaches and solid at-bats for a true freshman who's only had 17 ABs.
And now he's got 8 base hits in those 17 at-bats. Here's Daniel Cabrera, who drove in LSU's first run with an infield out to the right side.
There's also
let's play a game here. Let's go back many years. There was a second baseman who got hurt very early in the season for LSU back in 1996, and only played 22 games that year.
This is 20-something.
I think it was 22. LSU won every one of them.
I've seen the SEC stories a million times.
So is there any kind of angle, any kind of connection between Gavin Dugas and Warren Morris? I mean, not yet, obviously, but the story is setting up.
They play second.
Yeah,
that's it.
Well,
but I mean,
hurt early in the year, came back late.
I mean, Gavin Dugas.
Skip
obviously
Bertman says that was his best team had Warren Morris been healthy the whole year.
No, he said that many times. And, you're talking about a veteran guy in Warren Morris who'd been in the program at that point 4 years. He was a
I'm doing
junior.
my best here for conversation, and you're just blowing holes in the bottom of the boat.
I don't think we need to compare Dugas to Warren Morris just yet. But I will
said not
say,
yet.
I will say that.
I said there's a start. There's a start of a legend here.
I will say that he's brought an energy, and he's got a tremendous amount of confidence. I mean, he plays with a swagger for a guy that was in high school just, a few months ago.
Oh, what happened there? A little pitch and catch. My goodness. Not a very good decision between Graham and Etheridge. Graham had an easy play at first base and didn't take it.
Well, you got a true freshman over there at first base. What is that? Oh, my goodness. It looked even worse from that angle than it did in the booth. I mean, he literally threw the ball forward about 10 feet. And I think that's a situation. Inexperience right there got him. You got to be a little selfish over there at first base. You got to want to make that play, big fella, all by yourself.
Well, Graham had the easy play to turn and get back to first base by several steps.
Yeah, I think the moment just got him a little bit right there. That was just an on-the-road Alex box, 10,000 people at the game. He just kind of froze and made a crazy mistake. I don't think I've ever seen that. They always say about baseball, right? You go to the ballpark each day, you're going to see something you've never seen before. You and I have played and done thousands of games. I've never seen a first baseman throw the ball towards the pitcher's mound instead of running to the bag at first.
And I made a quick scan around the stadium and did not see a possum. That's a break for Ole Miss because an errant throw actually hit Dugas. That would have been sailing into center field. Let's watch this play again. A routine ground ball to the first baseman. He can make 4 steps to the bag, and it's an easy out. Instead, he throws to the pitcher who says, I don't want it.
It was like hot potato. Etheridge, as soon as he got it, was like, what are you doing? Here, take it back. And then when he caught it, he still was a little unsure. That is just it's a learning moment. That's just a play.
I'm assuming they have marked an error, obviously. I'm assuming it's an E3.
Oh. Got to be E3 twice. When he threw it to the pitcher, and then when he caught it, he didn't touch the bag.
Wacky. And no possum in sight.
There's a rodent somewhere. I mean, there has to be. It's the only explanation.
DiGiacomo with runners at second and first. He struck out in the second.
Now, if you're Etheridge, what's going through your mind as a pitcher when something like that happens? I mean, it really is, he's a veteran. He's been in some big moments. He's had a great year. But, I mean, right now he's trying to flush that and stop thinking about it and just focus on the hitter. But he's got to be rattled.
It is ruled an error on the first baseman. More of a mental error than a physical error. And DiGiacomo, who has struck out twice as many times as he has walked this year, waved at that one out of the strike zone. That would have been ball 4. Dugas at second base, Cabrera on first. LSU is trying to extend a 3-1 lead. We play in the 4th, game 1 of the series. DiGiacomo called out on strikes. A nice pitch that got plenty of the inside part of the plate.
So Etheridge, a couple of impressive batters. He's 3-0 to read, and then makes a good quality pitch to get the ground ball, and then right there falls behind 3-1 to DiGiacomo, comes all the way back with 2 good pitches.
Here's Garza, who blistered a base hit to left field last time. And he scored the second run of the game for the Tigers. That's a pitch earlier this year that Garza might have been tempted to swing at. That one sweeping across the plate, winding up outside, and he laid off of it. Ball 1.
That was perfectly placed. Garza looking for something middle in, and instead had to lean over and watch that one go by. As Etheridge buzzed the outside corner. That one was 91 on the gun.
That's okay, though. That's a pitch that's very difficult to handle. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Garza has hit safely and now in 3 straight games, and that may not seem like a lot for some players, but it's got to make him feel like a little spry in the step. It's only the 2nd time this year that he's had a 3-game hitting streak.
Garza fell behind in the 3rd inning and then laced one between third baseman Keenan and the bag.
And that was a pitch right there that Garza's missed. And he's telling himself that right there, the breaking ball that just kind of leaked back and hung up in the zone. That was a chance to put a charge in it.
That was like a piñata.
Mm-hmm. But without the blindfold.
Etheridge to Garza with 2 outs, 2 aboard. That wind has accelerated a bit, blowing out toward left center field. Probably 8 to 10, maybe 12 miles an hour at times.
Well, it's that time of the year. As it starts to warm up, the wind's going to blow that way towards left. Those right-handed hitters, Dugas and Garza, will have some chances. Watson. Still a lot in the tank for Etheridge. That was 93 as he tried to go fastball in there.
And the count remains a ball and 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out, a 2-run lead for the Tigers. We play in the bottom of the 4th, game 1 of the series. Kessinger makes a fine play and gets the out at second base. Cabrera forced at second on the fielder's choice. LSU leaves a pair. There was 1 base hit and an error. We move on. Tigers 3, Rebels 1. Here's what's upcoming for the Rebels. They will host Mississippi State next weekend. They will play at Arkansas State in a midweek game. Then they will go to Knoxville to take on Tennessee. And then the SEC tournament. LSU has Louisiana Tech on May 7th. And then we'll go to Fayetteville in a very important series. UNO is an opponent on May 14th. And then Auburn closes out the SEC schedule in Baton Rouge, May 16th, 17th, and 18th.
Well, LSU playing Louisiana Tech on May 7th, and man, prayers to everybody up there in Ruston and all that's going on with that tornado that went through Ruston and did tremendous damage to the baseball stadium. Of course, a lot of other sports facilities, but I saw the pictures. The scoreboard got blown down. The roof got ripped off.
Yeah, the softball and baseball facilities were the hardest hit. Thank goodness nobody was seriously hurt.
I think they're playing their games all on the road.
They are.
The rest of the regular season.
Yeah. No chance at all to play any more home games.
And they've been very good this year. RPI top 50. It was like 30 in the 30s last I saw. So they've got a really nice ball club. We'll see how they can do being road warriors.
Anthony Servideo leading off here in the 5th. He'll be followed by Jacob Adams, and then the top of the order in Ryan Olenek. Hilliard's longest performance of the season was 4 1/3 innings, and he threw 93 pitches. Tonight he's gone 4 innings on 62 pitches. 64 right now, but 62 coming into this inning. And Servideo laces a base hit to center field. That breaks a streak of 9 consecutive batters retired by Hilliard.
Not a bad pitch, a little down, but Servideo, a good hitter, and now be interested to see he's got 19 stolen bases this year in 20 attempts and Hilliard's not very quick to the plate. So, and we'll see if they decide to run on LSU catching this year, Lynn, that has only thrown out 11 base runners and 82 steal attempts this season.
Servideo has a pretty healthy lead, not going. That base hit by Servideo, the liner to center, was the first knock for Ole Miss since Cooper Johnson singled back in the second inning. Hilliard had retired 9 consecutive Rebels prior to the base hit by Servideo. Adams drove in a run back in the second with an infield out. He pulled the ball down to Beloso. Runner is moving. The liner wrong foots Josh Smith, and Servideo easily makes third. A perfectly accomplished hit and run off the bat of Jacob Adams. Josh Smith was covering and tried to lean back and get the liner, but it was out of his reach. And now we've got bullpen activity for LSU.
Perfect job. Exactly what you want to do. Keep your hands inside the baseball, and if you can, hit it the other way. And that's Adams hit a bullet. That would have been a base hit, probably hit and run or not. But Josh Smith was covering the base and kind of saw it a little late, tried to reach back and make it a miraculous catch and couldn't get there. And great production from the number 8 and number 9 hitters in Ole Miss's lineup.
So now here is leadoff batter Ryan Olenek, who has flied to right and grounded out to Josh Smith. The corner infielders are even with the bag, and the middle infielders are deep. And Paul Maneri may go to his bullpen here, although there has not been much of a warm-up. But Maneri is going to make the call here. So Mikhail Hilliard is lifted in the 5th after giving up singles to Servideo and Adams. Zach Hess will make his way to the mound. We will be back in a moment. LSU 3, Ole Miss 1. Zach Hess out of Forest, Virginia. Hess, big fellow, 6'6", 218. Not often during his career has he come into games in these situations in the middle innings, but he's called upon to protect a 2-run lead here. And Zach Hess, of course, has the ability to strike out batters. LSU would really enjoy getting one with runners at first and third and nobody out.
Well, this is only the second time this year that Hess has come worked out of the bullpen. The first time was when he was kind of just rehabbing from the strained groin situation he had at Missouri. That came against Florida where he went 2 1/3, gave up 2 hits and no runs. But this is the first time, and completely healthy. Coach's decision, Hess's decision to move to the bullpen. We weren't sure exactly what his role would be. Would he be late? Would he be early? It looks like right now they're giving it to him in a crucial spot and probably will turn him loose. The benefit is if he's on, Lynn, he could possibly finish this ball game for the Tigers.
50 1/3 innings this year for Hess. That's the most of any Tiger pitcher. He's allowed 59 hits, so that's been a problem. He has struck out 52 and walked 25. And Zach Hess will unleash to Ryan Olenek. Servideo at third, Adams at first after a single and a hit-and-run single. Ground ball down to Josh Smith, to second for 1, to first for 2. And Josh Smith made a heck of a reaction on a ball that looked like it was going to be belt high. All of a sudden it took an odd hop, but he still was able to get it and start the double play.
Now, good pitch by Hess, works a breaking ball. Olenek has a very defensive swing right here. And Josh Smith, you're right. That ball hit off the cut of the grass and just bounced up awkwardly. But LSU will give up the 2 for 1 when you're up 3-1. 2 outs to get 1, and you clear the bases.
Here's Kessinger, and he's greeted with a 94-mile-an-hour strike.
Obviously a totally different mindset for Zach Hess when you're coming out of the bullpen versus starting. You see him kind of came into the game, pranced around the mound a little bit, working real quick. There's a lot more of the old Zach Hess from a few years back when he was the wild thing coming out of that bullpen his freshman year. You're seeing some of that here.
94 and 95 on the last two deliveries. Kessinger is 1 for 2. And he stays alive, knowing that pitch was borderline. Kessinger has hit safely in 9 consecutive games, and he's been on base in 35 straight.
Boy, he is wired up, huh? Look at him. I mean, he is prancing around and ready to go.
And he strikes out Kessinger. So Hess comes out of the bullpen, induces a double play, and then gets a strikeout. Ole Miss picks up a run in the top of the 5th, but LSU still leads 3-2 as we go to the bottom half of the 5th inning in Baton Rouge. It's SEC baseball. The first game of a 3-game series. Ole Miss got on the board first. LSU tied it in the 2nd. The Tigers added 2 more in the 3rd. Ole Miss has just grabbed 1 in the 5th. It's as you would expect. The excitement, the drama of SEC baseball on a Friday night in Baton Rouge. Will Etheridge goes back to work here in the 5th for the Rebels. He's allowed 6 hits and 3 runs. He has not walked a batter. He has struck out 3. Tigers have base hits by Duplantis, by Reed, 2 by Dugas, one of those a double, and 1 by Garza.
Well, it's a credit to Etheridge, Lynn, that it's 3-2 because he hasn't looked himself, hasn't looked comfortable, and surprised that he hasn't walked anybody. He's had a number of 3-ball counts. He's gotten to 3 balls numerous times on hitters, but he's been able to come all the way back and keep his team in it. And it's a credit to that young man's experience and competitiveness.
Each team has a half a dozen hits. Watson is 0 for 2 with a strikeout at the top of the order. First baseman Graham gives way to second baseman Adams, and he grabs it in foul ground.
Well, Etheridge out of high school was drafted in the 35th round by the Seattle Mariners. He went on to be a freshman All-American back in 2017. Last year, made 26 appearances, all out of the bullpen, had 3 wins and an ERA under 4. Worked a total of 50 2/3 innings. This season, every appearance has been a start for Will Etheridge.
Duplantis shoots one into the right center field gap, but it is tracked down by Ryan Olenek. Olenek retreated and went to his left. That ball was given a pretty good ride, about 385 feet, but the center fielder grabbed it. So Antoine is 1 for 3. Etheridge is coming off an outstanding performance. His last start against Texas A&M last weekend went 8 innings. As Ole Miss won 3 times against the Aggies.
Outstanding first pitch changeup. Pulled the string, 83 miles an hour, and Beloso almost swung twice. He was so far out in front of this one. Watch that. That's an excellent pitch.
Etheridge only gave up 6 hits in those 8 innings against Texas A&M. He struck out 7. He walked only 1. That was a very quality start. He's at 83 pitches right now, as we play in the bottom of the 5th with 2 outs. Etheridge retired the side in order in the 1st and looking to do it for the first time since then. Beloso has grounded out to the right side twice. Once to the second baseman, once to the first baseman. Graham makes another very good play. Only 7 pitches in the inning to retire the 3 Tigers. And Graham, for the second time tonight, goes to the backhand side and takes a potential base hit away from a Tiger. So we go to the 6th in Baton Rouge. LSU 3, Ole Miss 2. Mike Bianco is 52 years of age today. 19 seasons in Oxford. 740 wins. And of course, he was a head coach in the late 1990s at McNeese.
I saw before the game, visiting with Mike Bianco during batting practice.
Tyler Keenan likes that offering and rips it into right.
There was a few LSU/McNeese supporters here at the ballpark. Chad Cooley's dad, Richard Cooley, and some others were visiting with Coach Bianco, who, of course, Mike coached Chad at LSU, but then when he was in Lake Charles, the head coach of McNeese, a lot of Tiger supporters kind of helped out the Cowboy program over there when he was leading the way.
Zach Hess came on in the 5th after Servideo and Adams had singled. He replaced Hilliard. He got Olenek to bounce into a double play. And then he struck out Kessinger, which is no easy feat. But Keenan has opened the 6th inning with a base hit. He's the tying run at first. Thomas Dillard is 0 for 2. Hess works in the breaking pitch. 2 runs, 7 hits. 1 error for Ole Miss. 3 runs, 6 hits. No bobbles for the Tigers. We play in the 6th, game 1 of the series.
Zach Hess kind of looks like his old self coming out of the bullpen. There's just, the energy, the working fast, the confidence. And went on. He can run it up there 95, 96 miles an hour. And right there, that one was a blazer 94. And he has been outstanding since coming in the ball game last inning. Here you see just a little heater that just misses off the plate, comes right back in the zone. Little backdoor slider in there to get ahead. Kind of overthrew that one, but then regrouped and had really good command away from the lefty hitter. That good arm side action by Zach Hess.
He has struck out 2 of the 4 batters he's faced, and here's Cole Zabowski. He fanned a couple of times against Hilliard. McHale went 4 innings. He gave up back-to-back hits in the 5th before Hess came on. Hilliard allowed 2 runs. He didn't walk anybody, and he struck out 4. Ole Miss collected 6 base hits off Hilliard in 4 innings. Hess with that little twister.
Yeah, a really nice slider right there. The key is, can you throw the breaking ball in the zone when the hitter's looking for a fastball? It doesn't have to be the biggest, yacker that you throw, but can you throw it commanded in the zone just enough when the hitter's looking for something else?
Back-to-back strikeouts. Zabowski has fanned 3 times.
I mean, this Zach Hess has retired, 5 in a row? And that time improved. 5 of the last 6. Yeah, I forgot the leadoff single there. But, I mean, he has been working quick in the zone.
He's dancing and prancing and stomping.
I mean, this is the role that most people expected out of him. And in professional baseball, no question, this is going to be his role. He's going to be a guy that's dominant out of the bullpen. And he wanted to be a starter. LSU needed him to be a starter. And I think right now they're going back to the pen, and he looks super comfortable. And, oh, by the way,
that looked like an off-speed pitch.
It was. He pulled the string. This is probably the best his off speed has looked all season.
2 quick strikes on Graham, who's 1 for 2 with a run scored. Hess comes back and gets the man on an off-speed little twister. 3 consecutive strikeouts after the leadoff walk to Keenan, and this place is juiced now as Hess fires up his teammates. 3-2, LSU by 1. Paul Maneri in his 13th season at LSU. 37 seasons as a collegiate coach and well over 1,400 career victories. His teams at LSU have had the propensity for playing much better the last month of the season and on into the SEC tournament than just about any other SEC team over the same period of time. It's been amazing how good LSU has been in the SEC tournament in particular. Josh Smith with his grandfather looking on. Singles for the second time.
And he's jumped on pitches early in the count. I mean, first pitch swinging. Look for a certain pitch. And when you get it, don't miss it. Right there, he's sitting all over, fastball away, and that's exactly what he got. But he didn't try to pull it. Able to hit it back up the middle.
He stayed on that pitch a long time because it had a little fade to it.
Yep, had some run. But that's because he was looking for it. He knew, hey, look, they're going to go fastball away, and he kept that front side in.
Here's Chris Reed, who's 1 for 2. The base hit came in the second, and he scored LSU's first run. This young man behind the plate, Cooper Johnson, has thrown out more would-be base stealers in the SEC than anybody. 30 times teams have attempted to steal against Cooper Johnson. 15 times he has erased them on the base path.
What if there's any chance the catcher, the communication could get a little interference, right? Like, could you get the wrong signal? What if, like, LSU's walkie-talkie went into the Ole Miss catcher's walkie-talkie, vice versa? There's all kind of crazy things can happen when you start having wireless communication.
Runner is on the move. Reed is swinging. And this will carry out to left field where Dillard is waiting.
Yeah, that was a called hit and run by LSU. Josh Smith took off. Chris Reed had to try to make the most of that inside pitch that really jammed him. Needed to try to get it on the ground, couldn't.
Chris Reed is a nice candidate to have at the plate, though, for the hit and run because he makes the contact, doesn't try to do too much with the bat.
That time that ball just got in on him way too quickly.
Here's Gavin Dugas. He has burst back on the scene after a 2-month stint in the boneyard. Had a nice series against Alabama a week ago. He has doubled and singled tonight. He is 8 for 17 on the year.
That last pitch was even a good take. Like, he really looks locked in. I mean, he watched it the whole way, leaned on it, saw it off the plate.
Johnson does not have a play.
Hasn't looked fooled in his at-bats. Dugas, 5'10", 199-pounder out of Houma Christian High School. Well, he tried to call time, didn't get it. Next thing you know, that ball ran up and in on him. Watch right here. He reaches for time, doesn't get the call. It's supposed to be a fastball away. And Etheridge, it just kind of gets away from him. And that came real close to Dugas's head.
Now it's 3 balls and a strike.
Well, I would think this is a good chance to start the runner in this case. Josh Smith leads LSU in stolen bases.
He's on the move, and Dugas yanks one foul. Josh Smith went over to second base. We didn't see it. You didn't see it on your screen, but gave a little hug and a pat to Kessinger, his counterpart at shortstop.
You know, one great player recognizes another, right?
They're both mighty good between second and third, and with the pipe in their hands. The pitch. Runner moving. That's blasted through Graham at first base. Smith pinwheeling on his way to third. They're waving him in, and they will get it. The throw went to second base. And that was an excellent job by Nolan Cain of coaching down at third. He saw that throw coming to the infield. He had originally put up the hands, then saw the direction of the throw, and restarted the runner.
Now look at Dugas. I mean, just so comfortable, full count, knows he's got to protect, reaches out, barrels it the other way, hits it hard the other way, and Josh Smith, speed kills, got a good break. Nolan Cain did a good job over there at third. It wasn't even close on the overthrow at second.
Nolan Cain readjusted Josh Smith while that play was in progress. So the Tigers regain a 2-run lead.
Another cross up. They got crossed up again. You see Nolan Cain right there at third base letting Dugas know. Stay put. Dugas thought about taking third, but the catcher and pitcher, Etheridge and Johnson, that's at least the second time tonight we've seen them not be on the same page with pitch calls. Looks like Johnson's expecting off speed, instead gets the fastball. And for the Rebels, they're very fortunate that that didn't lead to a free base. Mike Bianco went out to talk with the home plate umpire, but he did not make a mound visit.
Tyler Myers, a junior right-hander, is warming up for the Rebels. Cabrera hits this a long way, but it is curling foul. That's going to shake him up down in the yard, selling adult beverages under the tent. And a foul ball the other way.
Now Daniel Cabrera coming into this ball game hitting right at 300. He does have 8 home runs on the season. That's tops on the LSU ball club. And he's third on the team in doubles with 8. A lot of folks talking the last week about Daniel Cabrera hitting in the 7 hole and not hitting in the 4 or 5 spot. And Paul Maneri kind of publicly saying, that he wants to kind of break up the lineup a little bit. And I think also probably some teaching moments going on as far as approach is concerned with Daniel Cabrera. And we saw early on in this ball game, he did his job, got that runner at third, less than 2 outs, was able to hook a ball to first and get the run in. So he's already got an RBI tonight.
Josh Smith has scored after a single. LSU with some nice base running there as well. Dugas was able to get over to third. Looked like they had a chance to get Dugas hung up in that pickle play.
Yeah, it wound up being good base running, but it could have been bad. A comebacker to the mound. Etheridge had a chance, but it's always best if you're a pitcher on a ball hit right back to you. If you hesitate at all or you're not sure, just take the sure out at first.
Especially if that sure out is out number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Here's to Giacomo. He has fanned twice. That ball that Dugas blistered through the first baseman has been ruled an error.
That's a tough error.
Yes, it is. Four runs, 7 hits for LSU, 2 runs, the same number of hits, and a couple of errors for Ole Miss.
Well, the Giacomo getting a few good pitches to hit. He's fouling him off. But all you got to do, you just got to keep swinging. The young freshman out of Naples, Florida. 2 straight fastballs down in the zone, and he was just a little tardy on him.
This is most likely the final inning for Etheridge. And Giacomo has not been competitive at the plate tonight. He has struck out 3 times. But the Tigers get a base hit by Josh Smith. And then this one is blistered through the first baseman. It's ruled an error, but Josh Smith scored all the way from first base. And the Tigers have a 4-2 lead. Zach Hess has recorded 6 outs, 4 by strikeouts. Let's take a look at them.
Now, they've been pretty dominant. The fastball's been electric, but really the off-speed has been plus for Zach Hess. And this season, this is the best he has looked at throwing 2 or 3 different kinds of breaking balls.
Well, here's some more evidence of that, and we have not seen this from Zach Hess this year. 17 pitches, 15 have been strikes.
Wow. That is definitely the best 2 innings of the season.
By anybody. Johnson hits it high. Johnson hits it deep. And the Rebels have come back on the one swing by Cooper Johnson to get within a run. That's his 6th home run of the year. A towering drive into the left field bleachers. A Rebel ram shot by Cooper Johnson.
Well, a moonshot by Cooper Johnson. It was a 93-mile-an-hour heater, the very first pitch of the inning. He was sitting dead red fastball. Got it. It was right down. It was actually a little middle in. And you see, he clicked on it right away. Cabrera just gave it a look, and that one made it out of the ballpark.
So just like that, Ole Miss comes back and squeezes LSU again. It's 4-3. Rebels took a 1-0 lead in the second. LSU tied it in the bottom of the frame. The Tigers grabbed the lead with 2 in the third. The Rebels came back with 1 in the fifth. LSU got 1 in the sixth. And Ole Miss, on the first home run of the game, is now within 1 again. Cooper Johnson has hit 6 this year out of the ballpark.
Well, if you're LSU, though, you're okay with that. I mean, Zach Hess throws a strike. Maybe didn't locate it quite as well as he wanted to, but went right at him with a strike.
Josh Smith unleashes a nice throw for the first out. Anthony Servideo retired short to first. He's 1 for 2 tonight with a run scored. Here's Jacob Adams, who's also 1 for 2 with an RBI. The bottom third of the order for Ole Miss has contributed. Each of those players have had at least 1 base hit. And Johnson, of course, has just accounted for the 3rd run. Coming up in the 7th for the Tigers, it'll be Garza, Watson, and Duplantis. Hess rips the outside corner.
Jacob Adams out of Conway, Arkansas, suburb of Little Rock.
Yeah. Little north, little west. Zach Watson lopes back near the warning track to make the play.
You hit a ball in the air against this LSU defense, it's probably going to be caught. One of the speedier and more sure-handed outfields the Tigers have ever had.
Talking about pretty good center fielders, here's one in Ryan Olenek. He came in with a 5-game hitting streak. He's 0 for 3 tonight. But Olenek has been very good at the top of the order for the Rebels over the course of the year.
Yeah, came in as the leading hitter on the entire season with a .364 average, so 4 points ahead of Gray Kessinger.
Two outs after the home run by Cooper Johnson.
That was 94 miles an hour on that fastball.
Hess came on in the 5th after Servideo and Adams had singled. He induced the double play ball, then got a strikeout, gave up a base hit in the 6th, and then struck out 3 consecutive batters. Olenek on a half swing is called out, but the ball came loose, and the play finally is made at first base.
Nice block by Saúl right there as he did the little pirouette move and made the throw to first.
Hess has struck out 5, but this big swing by Cooper Johnson, his 6th home run of the year, brings the Rebels to within 1. LSU 4, Ole Miss 3 as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. This game is tighter than the top string on a Texas fiddle. LSU 4, Ole Miss 3 as we play in the bottom of the 7th inning. Let's look around the ballpark. 330 feet to the foul poles. The power alleys are 365 feet away. Center field is 405 feet from the plate. And there's a 10-foot high fence surrounding this ballpark. The Rebels have the game's only home run. On the flip side of that, Ole Miss pitching has given up a lot of home runs this year.
I think we were both a little surprised to see Etheridge still in the ball game. Starting the 7th, he's gone 6 innings so far, giving up 4 runs on 7 hits. But he's still in there. Pitch count is up to 106 now.
Kessinger, oh yes, that is a fine play. Watch the grace, the speed, the power, the fluid defensive work by Kessinger.
Now I was impressed with the arm right here. Watch little short hop, and it comes over the top, fires a little bazooka over the first base. Now Garza doesn't run extremely well, but he once he let go of that ball, it got across the diamond pretty quickly.
This carries out in a hurry to left fielder Thomas Dillard. Well struck by Zach Watson. He's 0 for 4 now at the top of the order, but that one was very well hit. Thomas Dillard didn't have to go very far to get it.
Yeah, Watson got a breaking ball that hung up a little bit, and he hit it a ton, but right at the Rebel outfielder Dillard. So 2 quick outs for Etheridge, who's giving Ole Miss what they want, an extended start. He's now, thrown 6 2/3 innings. And regardless of the outcome of this ball game, he's going to help his team.
Etheridge has thrown as many as 117 pitches in a game this year. He's at 109 right now.
Yeah, that 117 came last week against Texas A&M when he went 8 innings.
Duplantis is 1 for 3. Dillard will get another opportunity. It's a 7-pitch inning.
That's the second time tonight he's had a 7-pitch inning.
1, 2, 3 in a hurry. We go to the 8th. LSU with a 1-run lead. Well, here's a look at SEC players on the midseason watch list for the USA Baseball Golden Spikes Award. None of those on the screen right now are participating in tonight's game, but you take a look at some of the best in the SEC. Jake Mangum, of course, is the new all-time hits leader in the SEC, having supplanted Eddie Furness as the #1 hit producer in the history of the Southeastern Conference.
He'd get my vote. That's who I'd vote for right now for Golden Spikes. And I know that's a little bit of a lifetime achievement award, and it's not supposed to be, but that I think he deserves it. I think he's one of the best players in the country, and what he's done for 4 years is amazing.
Interestingly enough, there were 6 pitchers on that list of 10.
And that's always the debate, right, on Golden Spikes as far as which is more valuable. How do you compare a hitter versus a pitcher? A guy plays every day versus a guy who gets the ball once a week. I'm usually pretty biased to pitchers, but my vote would be for Jake Mangum.
Gray Kessinger is 1 for 3. He had a hard-hit infield single in the first. Since then, he's popped up to his counterpart Smith and struck out. Hess fanned him in the 5th. Hess is in his 4th inning of relief. He has not walked anybody. He has struck out 5. He has allowed 2 hits. One of those was a home run by Cooper Johnson.
So far, Lynn, 0 walks in this ball game for either team. And that's pretty impressive, pretty rare these days.
Hess is kind of a get it and go pitcher, and Kessinger wanted him to slow down a little bit. This has a lot of English on it. Dugas throws it low, but Beloso is able to scoop it for the out.
Now, that's one of those plays that I think Dugas will get better at the more experience he has. He stayed back too far on this baseball. One of the best to ever do it at LSU was a guy by the name of Tookie Johnson, who played second base and was captain of the 91 National Championship team. And Tookie was really great at always moving forward, always charging the baseball as if it was a competition to see who could get to who first. And that's the ball where if Dugas comes in, takes an extra couple steps, he's got all the time in the world to make a good throw, not have to rush it and throw it in the dirt.
Here's Tyler Keenan. He's got 3 now of the 9 base hits for Ole Miss. He came up there looking for a strike, got one, and shot it right back from whence it came. A base hit in the 1st, a base hit in the 6th, a base hit in the 8th for the Ole Miss third baseman. Hilliard allowed 6 hits in 4 innings. Hess has been reached for 3 in 3 1/3. Yeah, we might have a runner at first base here.
Yeah, Tyler Keenan with a really nice at bat. Zach Hess missed his location away. The ball leaked back middle in, and he put a good swing on it. The sophomore out of Clayton, North Carolina.
Josh Hall is going to run for Tyler Keenan. So Hall is running at first base for Keenan with one out. 11,119 tickets were sold for this game. Thomas Dillard is nothing out of 3, including a strikeout. This is his second at bat against Hess. He fanned him in the 6th.
Josh Hall over there, freshman out of Birmingham, Alabama. Went to Homewood High School.
Runner on the move, and a bad throw by Garza hits Hess. That throw was to the third base side and very low. Garza had to move out to his left to make that play. We've seen some odd stuff today involving pitchers.
Watch right here. This is a pitch out, and he just smokes Hess right in the side. If I'm Garza, I'm running out to the mound and giving him a hug and telling him I'm buying lunch tomorrow, because that was not too friendly.
What did I tell you earlier? Tough skin, pickle juice, tobacco juice.
He may try it, because that, I guarantee you that he hasn't ever had that happen to him before.
So we've had a game of juggle the baseball back and forth with an Ole Miss pitcher and first baseman, and now we've had an LSU pitcher pegged by his own catcher. And the ball is loose, and now Ole Miss gets a runner at third. Garza was unable to stop it and then unable to quickly locate it.
Well, I think Garza's thinking about the pitch before. And
he tried to smother it.
He needed to turn his glove over and block it. You called the off speed, right? As a catcher, you call the off speed, so you know it's coming. You have to anticipate it, use the proper technique. But that's a case where I'm telling you, Garza's probably never done that in his life, thrown a pitch out and hit the pitcher in the side on the mound. So he's sitting there thinking about that, and then messes up and has a pass ball in the very next pitch.
So now Hess is in great need of a strikeout. A runner at third, and only one out. The infield is pursed toward the plate. Yes, works the strike zone on the inner side. 3 balls, 2 strikes. 1 out, a runner at third, representing the tying run. This crowd sending out encouragement to Zach Hess. He struck him out with heat. 95 on the strikeout pitch.
This is just old school. I'm going to throw it as hard as I humanly possibly can. That ball split the plate directly in half, thigh high, and Hess just said, here's my best. See if you can hit it, and won the battle.
6 strikeouts for Hess, but still work to do with the runner at third. Here's Cole Zabowski, who has fanned 3 times. Hess got him in the 6th. LSU's got 2 right-handers throwing in the bullpen. One of them is Beck, and Fontenot is the other.
Well, Fontenot just got down there. Beck's been down there a while.
Two balls and no strikes.
2 back-to-back breaking balls that weren't near the zone. Wonder if Hess is starting to tire just a little bit, with all that energy and emotion coming out of the bullpen. versus starting, you will wear down a little bit.
3 balls and no strikes. First base is open. 2 outs. Tying run at third. We're in the 8th. Hess is definitely the type of pitcher who feeds off a large crowd.
That helps you throw hard, but sometimes, you get too pumped up. It's hard to get that feel in that breaking ball.
Zabowski was swinging on 3-0.
Surprised by that.
Me too, with 2 outs.
This is a 3-0 pitch, and that's not necessarily a 3-0 location. If you're going to turn him loose 3-0, you want it to be a little bit more on a tee than that one was. That had some downward movement at the knees.
Now Hess gets within 1 pitch of getting his team back to the dugout. That was a 95-mile-an-hour delivery. Listen to this crowd coming to full throat.
Look at that look on his face, the intensity.
The inning continues as Hess misses with the hardest pitch he's thrown tonight. That one recorded at 96. And that is the first base on balls of the game. And Pulmonary is going to jog out to the mound to talk with Zach Hess. Beck is ready, and Fontenot is probably close.
Yeah, Fontenot's standing there, so I imagine he's good to go, but I think he's going to leave Hess in the ballgame.
I think he will, too.
He's going to probably try to let him go one more and then turn it over to Fontenot in the 9th. That's what he would like to do.
This inning has had some bizarre occurrences. Runners at first and third. Hall, the pinch runner, at third. Keenan singled. Then he was credited with a stolen base on a pitch out as Saul Garza, trying to throw it down to second base, hit his own pitcher in the side with the throw. Then a pass ball moved the runner to third. Hess since then has struck out Dillard and walked Zabowski. 1-0 on Graham. He had a base hit in the second. Since then he has struck out twice.
Got him on the foot. He threw a slider, and it got the batter on the foot, which actually ends up being a break for LSU. It caught Kevin Graham on that back foot, and if it doesn't catch the foot, it probably gets by Garza for a run. Watch right here. Pitch way inside. Now Garza was sliding over nicely. Maybe he makes that block, but who knows if it ricochets away from him or off his shoulder. So kind of a break for the Tigers.
Well, Hess apparently is going to stay in the game. The man who homered last time comes to the plate. Cooper Johnson has a base hit. He flied out to left and he homered over the left field bleachers in the 7th. He takes a big wave. He's only come to the plate twice this year with the bases loaded. This is the home run back in the 7th inning.
It was a first pitch fastball, 93 miles an hour, and Johnson hit it over the bleachers and left. This time around a little different. They went first pitch breaking ball. And Johnson swung for the downs but came up empty.
Johnson is 0 for 2 this year with the bases loaded. Another breaking pitch, and it stays tight.
Garza trying to call for the breaking ball down and away. That ball misses way inside. LSU faithful were yelling and screaming for that one. I think that was the folks down the left and right field line didn't have a good look at it because that ball was clearly inside.
The bases are loaded. 2 outs, a 1-run game in the 8th.
Another breaking ball. This time it misses just a little off the plate. A little up and out. So hasn't thrown a fastball yet. He's thrown 3 straight breaking balls to Johnson, who homered his last time up off of the only fastball he saw.
A big pitch coming here. 95 past Johnson.
This is fun to watch. You got a guy that's throwing 95. You got a hitter who's trying to hit it 500 feet.
And you got a nearly full house cheering wildly. College baseball at its best. The 2-2 pitch. He struck him out swinging. Zach S. leaves the bases loaded. He struck out 2 in the inning. He's got 7 in 4 innings of relief. And the LSU Tigers have a 4-3 lead. LSU is clinging to a scant 1-run lead. It's 4-3. The Tigers will bat in the 8th against Tyler Myers. So Will Etheridge battled his way through 7 innings. He gives way to Tyler Myers, a junior out of Houston. Myers is making his 16th appearance. His record is 2-0. He has 1 save on the year. He's given up 26 hits in 29 innings.
He struck out 26 and only walked 6. So
yeah, he's had good control and the strikeout pitch working.
Over 4-1 strikeouts to walks. The last time he pitched was midweek against Southern Miss in a loss. He went 1 1/3 innings. He did not get the loss, but the Rebels lost to Southern Miss. He went 1 1/3, gave up 1 hit, 1 run. It was earned. He walked 1 and struck out 2. Threw 27 pitches against Southern Miss on Wednesday.
Myers transferred from Paris Junior College. Played a couple of years there. The Rebels have made a couple of other defensive changes. Josh Hall, who came into the game as a pinch runner, remains in the game in center field. And Ryan Olenek, the center fielder, has gone to third base. So Tyler Keenan has been replaced by Olenek at third base. That's not a common transition from center field to third base.
No, but he's a guy who just a super athlete, moves around nice and easy. And the Rebels have a few of those guys. They've got guys that can play multiple positions, infield, outfield.
Cade Beloso came into that at bat 0 for 3 with 3 ground ball outs. And he sends another ground ball through the gap in the middle. So Beloso greets Tyler Myers with a ground single to center.
Well, Beloso, really nice piece of hitting. They went wave fastball away right there. Mike Bianco called that pitch. Catcher set up a foot off the plate. That ball leaked back and caught maybe a hair of the plate. I think a ball was actually off the plate. And Beloso reached out there and hit it back up the middle.
So here's Josh Smith. He's working on a 2-hit night. He has scored a run. That's tight. Smith drove in a pair of runs with a 2-out single in the 3rd. He singled and he scored in the 6th. Right now, his run is the difference in the game.
Really nice off-speed pitch there by Myers. If you're going to throw it down and into Smith, you got to make sure it's down under the bat, and he did that. Had a good, sharp late break on it.
LSU does not have a home run tonight, but this Ole Miss pitching staff has given up more home runs than any other team in the league except Florida. How often has that occurred? Florida and Ole Miss, the worst 2 teams in allowing home runs off their pitching staffs. That's despite, at least in Ole Miss's case, a very good staff ERA, a very good hits to innings pitch ratio and a lot of good numbers, but they have given up 41 homers this year.
Well, that's because Mike Bianco's a fastball dominant pitching coach. You know, he's a guy that lives off of the fastball. Kind of learned from Skip Bertman that, hey, you know, 2-0, we're throwing fastball. 3-1, for the most part, we're throwing fastball. We're challenging hitters. And so they'll give up a solo homer that's meaningless in lieu of walking people. And that's just kind of the philosophy to challenge hitters. And sometimes those numbers can be up there, but as long as they're solo homers, it doesn't hurt you.
Josh Smith cues one into left field for a base hit. He's working on a 3-hit night.
Little inside-out swing by the former Catholic High Bear right here in Baton Rouge. Having quite the night. Defensively, at the plate as well. Making friends with umpires. I mean, everything's going right for Josh Smith.
Josh Smith's 3 hits have moved his average to .345, and that's the highest average on the team right now. That's a younger version of Skip Bertman walking to the mound.
That was Skip when the hips were good back in the 80s. And send our best to Coach Bertman, who's watching this ball game at home tonight. He'll be probably out at the ballpark tomorrow when the 2009 National Championship team is being honored.
Meanwhile, Paul Maneri is going to summon the base runners.
Here you see number 16, the pitching coach for Ole Miss down there, Coach Lafferty, been on that staff for like 13 years, played for Mike Bianco.
Austin Miller is the new pitcher, so we'll take a timeout right here as the wheels are turning. LSU 4, Ole Miss 3, Game 1 in Baton Rouge. Austin Miller, he carries 6 feet 7 inches, a junior from North Liberty, Iowa. His 19th appearance and an ERA of 1.80, 40 innings of work, 25 hits allowed.
Now,
He's been good out of the bullpen.
Miller, a big fellow, Lynn, 6'7", 225-pound junior out of Iowa. Going to come at you very over the top, very traditional windmill style delivery. The ball gets released at the 12 o'clock angle.
Well, this is a guy who has struck out 47 and he's walked only 12.
Doesn't necessarily light up the scoreboard, but the ball gets on you in a hurry with that 6'7" reach and creates tremendous angle.
Chris Reed is 1 for 3. That base hit came in the second inning. He scored LSU's first run. Austin Miller. Reed takes one inside. LSU would love to create a little bit of padding between itself and Ole Miss in the ninth. And Reed looks as though he may get down a sacrifice bunt to get a runner to third with 1 out. Dugas is on deck. Reed does not need to steer this ball in any particular place. If he can get it down pretty much anywhere in fair territory, Ole Miss is going to collect the out at first base.
Yeah, sometimes hitters will try to get too cute with it, right? They'll try to really angle the bunt, try to get it right perfectly, hugging the line. Look, it's just if you're an LSU bunter in this situation, you just got to get it on the grass. It's all about just simply getting the bunt down on the grass.
That will work. There's only one play, and that's at first base. So a 3-4 put out as Chris Reed moves the runners into scoring position. That's the third time he's laid down a sacrifice bunt this year.
Now this is the right guy to have at the plate if you're LSU to try to extend the lead. Dugas only has 2 hits, but we all think he should have 3. I mean, that ball hit the first base. We thought it was a base hit, was ruled an error on a hot shot smash that went by the first baseman.
Dugas doubled in the second over the right fielder's head. He singled in the fourth. He's way out in front of a slow breaking pitch. Game 1 of the 3-game series. Ole Miss 7-9 in road games this year. 22-6 at home. This is hit deep to right. Caught on the warning track. Beloso tags and scores. And Gavin Dugas continues to be a very bright spot in his return to the lineup. That is a huge run for the Tigers.
That was a big run. I mean, as you know, with Devin Fontenot warming up down the LSU bullpen and a 2-point lead at home, a 2-run lead at home, you got to feel pretty good if you're the Tigers. And just the approach by Dugas in the swing to be able to recognize, pitch up in the zone, don't try to do too much, hit backside on it, and drive it out to right field. I mean, that's just impressive for a guy who now has, maybe 19 at-bats in his entire college baseball career.
Cabrera has to lean out of the way. Ole Miss 30 victories, 16 losses, 13-8 in the SEC, as is LSU. Both teams, along with Mississippi State, are 2 games behind Arkansas. That's foul. Mississippi State has picked up a victory tonight, shutting out Texas A&M 4-0. So Mississippi State keeping the heat on in the West. It's now 14-8. LSU and Ole Miss are 13-8.
Well, the West is just so stacked. In the conference, over in the East, it's just shocking at this point in the season to see Missouri ahead of South Carolina and Florida in the standings. You don't usually see that.
There is room, but it's misplayed by Olenek. Now remember, he just moved to third base from center field, and he overran that one.
Yeah, that is surprising to see Olenek miss this ball. Maybe a ground ball, but not a fly ball, right? For a guy who plays center field and also in the infield, that's the easier play for him. And we'll see what happens next. Can Daniel Cabrera make Ole Miss pay for the extra strike?
Cabrera is 0 for 3 with an RBI. He does. Way back. You can pucker up and kiss that baby goodbye. Daniel Cabrera rips one into the right field bleachers for the 9th time this year. And the Tigers have extended the lead with a 3 spot in the 8th on a big swing by Daniel Cabrera. 397 feet for Daniel Cabrera. Way back it goes.
What a moment, huh? And for Ole Miss, that is deflating to have an out. You drop the ball, and instead it ends up a homer. And now a cool moment. Drew Bianco is the pinch hitter. Mike Bianco's son. First time they've ever faced each other in college.
So Giovanni DiGiacomo, who struck out 3 times, Drew Bianco hits one way, way back. You can pucker and kiss that baby goodbye. On his father's 52nd birthday, Drew Bianco rips one down the left field line, his third home run. What a moment for Papa and son Bianco.
Wow, that is one of the coolest moments you will ever see. Mike Bianco has got to be unbelievably torn in this moment. You know he wants to cheer, he wants to smile, but his team may have just had the final dagger put in it as that ball hits right off the fair pole. But Drew Bianco knew he got it as soon as he hit the ball. Wow, that is cool.
Well, Mike's first worry is about this game, but he'll be the first to congratulate his son after the game.
That'll be something they talk about forever. And that, I mean, right after Daniel Cabrera hits a homer, back-to-back jacks, but the Drew Bianco home run after the season he's had this year, the struggles he's had, but he's been swinging it a lot better of late. And to hit a home run against Ole Miss, my goodness.
That's the 42nd and 43rd home run that Ole Miss has allowed this year. Only Florida has given up more with 48. Now Garza at the plate. So LSU has scored 4 in the 8th and takes its biggest lead of the night.
Now, conspiracy theorists will say that around the Christmas dinner table, they discussed, hey, first pitch, I'm going to give you a fastball. I'll give you one. Give you one. Fastball in. Well, Kevin Costner and Bull Durham, when he gave the pitch and he hit a homer and he looked at it, hey, when you talk of me, speak well.
There is room for the first baseman, and Kevin Graham makes the play. So Garza fouls out, but the Tigers get base hits from Beloso and Smith, and home runs by Cabrera and Bianco. And they carry an 8-3 lead into the 9th in Baton Rouge. 3 runs, 9 hits for Ole Miss. LSU exploding with a couple of home runs in the 8th inning, one by Cabrera, one by Bianco. And now leading by 5 with Devin Fontenot on the mound, the sophomore from the Woodlands, Texas. Trying to wrap it up here in the 9th. His 20th appearance, a 3.30 ERA in 30 innings. He's allowed only 18 hits. He's walked 13. He has struck out 29.
It's amazing how the season has turns and dips and valleys. And, you know, at the start of the season, Zach Hess was the Friday night starter. Todd Peterson was the closer. Devin Fontenot was kind of a middle reliever setup guy. And now it's all been turned on its head, and it's come together tonight. Zach Hess has looked amazing coming out of the bullpen, and Devin Fontenot has been their best reliever all season long.
LSU has made a defensive change at second base with Hal Hughes there now, replacing Gavin Dugas. So it's Beloso and Hughes on the right side. Smith and Reed remain on the left side of the infield. Arkansas beat Kentucky tonight 5-2. Beloso will give way to Hughes. This one finally comes out of the darkness for the out. So Arkansas has maintained its hold on first place with a 5-2 victory over Kentucky.
What's that, 7 or 8 in a row for the Razorbacks? I know they swept 2 straight series and then won today.
Tennessee 11-5 over Missouri. That's a final. Auburn beat Alabama 5-1. Georgia bested Florida 6-4. Here's a wild one. Vanderbilt 22. South Carolina 8 in the 7th.
Vandy 22, South Carolina 8. My goodness.
Vanderbilt has won 8 straight games, and Fontenot takes care of business on strikes.
95 miles an hour on this pitch by Fontenot. He's pumped up. The whole stadium's pumped up. LSU puts a 4 spot on the board in the bottom of the 8th. And you see a little smirk by Fontenot. He missed his location, but it was cheddar.
Now here's Ryan Olenek at the top of the order. He's hitless in 4 at-bats tonight. Zach Hess is the pitcher of record at the moment for the Tigers. This is twisting off foul and out of play.
There you see Zach Hess right in the middle of your screen, who was sensational coming out of the bullpen. And I thought Paul Maneri, when he made the move in the top of the 5th inning with a couple runners on and no outs, was the exact perfect time to go get Hilliard. Even though Hilliard pitched well and at the time had only given up 1 run, obviously one of those runners would score, and he gave up 2. But it was the perfect decision by Coach Paul Maneri when to put Hess in the game, and it paid dividends.
2 outs, the bases are empty. LSU has a 5-run lead in the 9th. The 1-2 pitch. Off the mark, low and away.
That was definitely a ball. It was called to be off the plate, but boy, it's hard for give Jeff Wright, the home plate umpire, a lot of credit for not ringing up strike 3 in that moment.
Olenek is protecting the plate as best he can against the best from Devin Fontenot. Kessinger is in the on-deck circle with a 1-for-4 night. 2 gone in the 9th. Game time tomorrow, 6:30. Game time Sunday, 2:30.
Devin Fontenot embracing that closer role. Got the Wild Thing haircut, the mohawk underneath the hat. Trying to go after another save.
3-2 pitch coming. And this game is extended.
Well, not technically a save, but trying to go after another closeout. In the last few times that Devin Fontenot has pitched, it's been a little waffly. I mean, in the last couple of weeks, he's had his ups and downs, but over the whole body of work from this February to now, he's been the most consistent reliever that LSU has had.
So Kessinger will get his 5th at bat. He had a base hit in the 1st. Since then, he has popped up to the shortstop, struck out, and grounded out to 2nd. Olenek will take as much lead as he likes, as LSU will play deep behind him at first base. Ball 1 outside. 3 runs, 9 hits for the Rebels. 8 runs, 11 hits for the Tigers with a late explosion. Alan Dunn is going to go out now as Fontenot starting to miss high and away pretty consistently.
Well, in SEC games, Devin Fontenot has made 10 appearances. He's got 4 saves, 17 innings, only 5 walks. But recently, some of the walks and command issues, he's in the last 4 and a third innings, he's had 3 walks and hit 3 batters. So recently, the release point's been a little bit of a struggle, and that's what the conversation's about.
He's been able to get the final out, but he's had some shaky moments in his last couple of outings.
Hey, if LSU can pull this one off, Lynn, when you've gone with a spot starter in Mikhail Hilliard, in place of injured Cole Henry and Zach Hess going to the bullpen, matched up against the Friday night ace for Ole Miss. That would be a big coup and a big way to try to win 2 out of 3 this weekend.
Eric Walker will pitch tomorrow for LSU. Fontenot with a pretty good ripper there, 94 miles an hour. And on Sunday, Landon Marceau will get the start. Sunday's game is scheduled to start at 2:30 Central Time. It's on ESPN2.
Marceau coming off of his best performance of the year at Alabama last week.
We'll have the middle game of the series for you tomorrow at 6:30 Central Time, weather permitting, right here on the SEC ESPN network. Three balls and a strike to Kessinger. Back-to-back walks with 2 outs.
Now we got a pinch hitter for the Rebels.
Well, Hall had gone into pinch run and would have been scheduled a bat here, but
Chase Cockrell.
So Cockrell is going to bat out of Bastrop, Louisiana, a senior, big fellow, 6'4", 225.
Cockrell went to Hines Community College before ending up at Ole Miss.
A breaking pitch for a strike to Cockrell. He's had 18 hits this year. 5 of them have been doubles. He's batting .225. He's driven in 11. Servideo popped up to Hughes at second. Adams struck out, but then Olenek and Kessinger have both waited out Fontenot for walks. Cockrell trying to extend it in the 9th. That's upstairs. Well, if Cockrell gets aboard, the tying run would be in the on-deck circle.
Now Cockrell out of Oak Grove High School up in North Louisiana. Big thrill for him playing at the box, a Louisiana guy. And this has been an issue for Fontenot the last few times out.
Most of his misses have been elevated and outside. It's 3-1. Nobody is warming up in the bullpen.
Well, now.
Except right now, Matthew Beck is going to get up. Well, Palmineri is not going to go any farther without getting somebody ready.
Now, Beck is not going to take him much. He's already been loose from earlier. I would imagine one more guy reaches base, you might see Beck.
That's elevated, a check swing, and the bases are loaded. Kevin Fontenot has walked 3 batters in a row with 2 outs.
Well, last Sunday at Alabama, in 1 inning of work, Beck walked in a batter and hit 2 in LSU's 5-4 victory.
Here's Thomas Dillard. He's 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. He's 3 for 5 this year with the bases loaded.
Earlier last week against Lamar in 1 inning of work, he walked 2 and hit 1. So it's been a theme 2 of the last 3 times out for Fontenot.
Ball 1 high.
I mean, right now the release point is done. I mean, he just lost the release point. Every pitch is the same, and he hadn't been able to make an adjustment.
LSU leading 8-3, but the Rebels have put runners aboard with 3 consecutive walks with 2 outs.
Very shocked right there to see Ole Miss swinging. You've had a pitcher walking everybody, and you're down 5.
Olenek, Kessinger, and Cockrell are aboard. 1-1 pitch. Sliced off foul into the night.
We got a pinch runner. Yep.
Carl Gindel is running at first for Cockrell. The 1-2 pitch from Fontenot. He ends the game with some heat over the inside corner.
That was 94 on that heater. He made it interesting, but nonetheless, Tigers pull out a victory where on paper the Rebels had the edge with the starting pitcher, but the bullpen was the difference tonight for the Tigers.
So LSU, after giving up a run in the second, tied it in that frame, took a 3-1 lead with a pair in the third, gave up a run in the fifth, got that back in the sixth, gave up one in the seventh, but then a 4 spot in the 8th inning, punctuated by back-to-back home runs from Daniel Cabrera and Drew Bianco off the bench, have propelled LSU to a first-game victory in this 3-game series. 8-3 the final. Zach Hess, the winning pitcher, as Ole Miss 3 runs, 9 hits, 2 errors. LSU 8 runs, 11 hits, and no errors. Game number 1 goes in the books for the Tigers.
There was a lot of crazy things in this ball game. We had the goofy play on the ground ball to Graham at first for Ole Miss, and then we saw Garza hit Hess in the side on the pitch out. But the best moment and the takeaway from this ball game, no doubt, is Drew Bianco coming off the bench. The pinch hit homer on the first pitch he saw into the fair pole down the left field line, and having to watch Mike Bianco, his dad, in the Ole Miss dugout as he rounded the bases. He had to have so many mixed emotions. It was one of the coolest moments I've ever seen.